What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the brand new Marvel Legends Stilt-Man Build-A-Figure Wave Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales. And I'm really excited to finally have this version of the character because this movie came out like 2 years ago and it was a huge success. Everybody loved it, critics loved it, it won awards, people loved it, and for whatever reason, toy companies seem to neglect giving anybody action figures. Like, there was no 6-inch action figures. I think the only thing we saw was the Hasbro basic figures, and I can't think of any other company that even attempted to make any Spider-Verse figures, which kind of blows my mind. Mafex did announce a bunch of them, but then they delayed them for years at this point. So it's just crazy that toy companies didn't jump all over this because it was so successful and the designs are so like toy friendly, so why not? But hey, whatever, better late than never. Hasbro's here with some Spider-Verse figures, and I'm excited. So let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with the packaging. It is the standard Marvel Legends packaging. Through the window, you can see Miles and the accessories that he comes with, and the Build-A-Figure piece. On the side of the box, we get some artwork of Miles, and then on the back, we get that same artwork, but it is zoomed out so you can see a little bit more of it, and then we have a very short character description of Miles. Down at the bottom, we get a look at all the other figures that it takes to build Stilt-Man, and that's about it for the packaging. It does look nice, it is collector friendly, but enough about the box. Let's go ahead and take a look at the figure. Alright, so here we have Miles right out of the box, and the first thing that jumped out to me about this figure is how good the sculpt is. I think that Hasbro did a great job of capturing the look from the movie, and it's very impressive how good this head sculpt is, especially. So they did a nice job. I think the figure looks great. I like the way they did the jacket too. It's 2 layers, but the bottom layer is kind of thin. It doesn't have anything around the shoulders, so it doesn't hinder the articulation, and it just comes across really nice. And just check him out, man. He's a really good looking figure. And another thing that's really exciting about this figure is the fact that he has the G.I. Joe Classified Series style articulation, where we have a ball joint at the waist and then an ab crunch. So that's really cool to see that the Marvel group is taking inspiration from some of the other lines that Hasbro has, because ultimately all those other lines took inspiration from Marvel Legends, whether it's G.I. Joe Classified or the Lightning Collection or whatever. I feel like none of them would be around in their current state without Marvel Legends. But they're also doing some things that, as a Marvel Legends fan, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I was jealous of. So it's nice to see that the Marvel team has taken some of those things and put it into Marvel figures, and hopefully we continue to see that going forward. But yeah, this is a nice figure. I would say one thing I do wish was a little better was the arms, because he does have single jointed elbows and he doesn't have a butterfly joint, so there's not a whole lot of movement. So I kind of wish that, I mean, considering that they're single jointed elbows, they do still get pretty good range and stuff, but they just feel a little bit limited. I kind of wish that there was a double jointed elbow in there, but I mean, I get it. Maybe it's because the arm is so small. And that's one thing about this figure. He's tiny. That kind of caught me by surprise too. I was like, man, he's really little, but obviously Miles is like a kid in this movie. I think he's like 13 years old or something. But yeah, he's very small, and the figure definitely feels that way. But yeah, I think they killed it, man. Taking a close look at the details here, starting off with the head. This head sculpt is pretty much perfect as far as I could tell. They did a great job with it. As you can see, he does have like a black line on his forehead, and I think that was to try to give it like an animated type of look, similar to what like NECA does with the Turtles. But with Miles, I think they should have either left it out or put more in there. Maybe like put some lines around his nose or his lips or his face or whatever, just to give it the complete animated look that they were trying to go for with that one line. I think just doing it once like that just kind of looks awkward. Not a big deal. It's kind of hard to see anyways, but it's definitely there. But aside from that, this is a beautiful looking head sculpt. The face looks good, the hair looks good, everything about it is nice. And then moving down into the body, the jacket looks good too. We've got some sculpting work going on and some different colors. I like how the hood goes down from the back here. That all looks really nice. And the way they did this jacket is very cool. And it doesn't really get in the way too much, which is really nice. And this figure has a completely new sculpt. As you can see here on the body, there's a bunch of texture. We have the web line sculpted on there, and then you have his spider logo just painted on there all sloppy, which is awesome. Moving down into the shorts, we've got the belt, and that's about it. Nothing else going on. Oh, on the back we have some pockets, and then on the back of the legs we have the stupid ass serial number or whatever that is. Why can't they put that at the bottom of the foot? Like, what are they doing? But yeah, these shorts look good. And then moving down to the lower legs, we do have some spider costume design and texture that all looks good. And then, of course, he does have his Jordans, I guess they would be. Not officially, but close enough, right? I'm not a sneakerhead. I'm sure a sneakerhead will be like, what? But yeah, this is a great looking figure. So they killed it with the sculpting work. I'm happy to see that there's a lot of new pieces on here. It's a completely new sculpt, and it all looks very, very good. So I'm happy with it. But as far as accessories go, he does come with 2 sets of hands. First off, we have a pair of fists, and then we have a set of thwip hands. And then he does come with 2 different heads. He has the unmasked Miles Morales head, which we've already looked at, and then he does have a masked Spider-Man head. And the texture of the Spider-Man head does match the rest of the body, and it does look really nice. So I think it's awesome that they included 2 different heads. And then, of course, Miles comes with a Build-A-Figure piece for Stilt-Man. I'm not 100% sure how to describe this thing, but it does go over the chest like this somehow. It pegs into the back or whatever. I still haven't assembled Stilt-Man, but it's looking pretty cool so far. So yeah, I'm not really sure what this thing is, but I guess it could protect his head if he grows too tall and hits something that he doesn't realize is there. I don't know what that's for. But yeah, that's what Miles comes with. So for the accessories, I do like what we have going on here, but I do wish that he came with 1 more set of hands. It would have been nice to have an open set, but I do like the thwip hands, I like the fist, and it's cool that he came with 2 heads. So I'm not going to complain too much, but an open set of hands would have really completed this. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into some size comparisons, starting off with Miles alongside Uncle Aaron, aka the Prowler, and the Marvel Legends Spider-Man Noir. And I do like the size difference between the Prowler and Miles. I think they got a good height difference because obviously Prowler's an adult, Miles is like a kid or a young teenager, so I think that size difference works. And I love the Spider-Man Noir figure, but I really wish that Hasbro would have maybe revisited it and given us like one that's kind of more in line with the way he looked in the Spider-Verse movie. I know he pretty much looked like this, but I feel like there's things they could have done to make it feel a little bit more Spider-Verse, you know? And maybe giving him like a different jacket, added some accessories, giving him a Rubik's Cube. They could have done a couple of different things. I like this figure, but I never was a big fan of the jacket that he came with. You know, nobody likes that jacket at this point, but I had to get one from Rebel 10 Customs, and doing that really took this figure to the next level, and he's definitely going to be hanging out with the other Spider-Verse figures. And speaking of them, next up we have Miles alongside the Into the Spider-Verse Marvel Legends Gwen Stacy and the Into the Spider-Verse Marvel Legends Peter B. Parker. And I do like the way that they all look together, and it feels so good to see these guys like this. This is awesome. It took a while, but they got here and it looks nice, so I'm happy with the way they look. Next up we have Miles alongside Pizza Spider-Man and Bucky Cap, of course. So there you go. And then next up we have Miles alongside the Marvel Legends comic book Miles Morales and the Mafex comic book Miles Morales. And it would be nice to see Marvel Legends revisit the Spider-Verse Miles in this suit, but make it more accurate to the movie. Pretty much just do what they did here with the Spider-Man pieces. Just give us a whole figure like that. I think that would be nice. And then for the final comparison, we have Miles alongside Marvel Legends Cyborg Spider-Man and Mafex comic book Classic Spider-Man. And the articulation on Miles is pretty nice too. Starting off at the head, it does move side to side. It's got a double ball joint thing going on, so there's a ball joint that goes into the neck, and then it also goes into the head. So you get a little bit of movement at the upper neck itself, and then you have movement at the head. I do wish that there was movement at the lower neck, because as it is now, it kind of sticks forward like that, and it makes it hard for him to be able to look up. But if you kind of use his torso to help you make him look up, you could make it work. So, you know, it's not a huge flaw or anything. And then he can look down to about right there. He does have some tilt to his head, which is really nice. You could give him some attitude. And then for the torso, as I was talking about before, I really like this torso joint. We do have an ab crunch, which goes forward to about right there. And then he does have a ball joint at the waist, so you can get him to move even a little bit more forward using both of those joints, so that's nice. And then it could come back a really nice amount, but the jacket does get in the way. And then at that ball joint, you could get him to tilt side to side, you could get him to twist, and this is just a really nice articulation setup. I like it a lot. And then for the arms, they do go all the way around. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a butterfly joint, but his arms can come up to about right there, which is really nice. No upper bicep swivel. You do get the swivel at the elbow, and the elbows are single jointed, but they get some pretty decent bend. So even though they're single jointed, they get more than 90. So, I'm okay with that. It would have been cool if they could have. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on his arms because I'm like, oh, I wish there was a little bit more going on. But at the same time, I think there's enough to do what you want. You know, you could definitely get him into some cool poses. There you go, some boxing poses. I think maybe if it just would have had butterfly joints at the shoulders, I think I would have been fine. The single joints don't bother me all that much, to be honest with you. Hasbro's doing some crazy things with single jointed elbows between like the Spider-Man figures and well, just this Spider-Man figure and the Stormtroopers. They've come a long way with single jointed elbows. So I think I'm okay with that, but I think he would have benefited a lot from a butterfly joint. And then at the hands, we do have a swivel and a hinge. His legs can go up to about right there. They could come back to right there. He could pretty much do the splits, almost. And he does have an upper thigh swivel that's hidden inside of the shorts, so that is awesome stuff right there. I like that a lot. And then he does have double jointed knees. And even though he does have his shorts, and they kind of get in the way, you're still able to get a really good bend out of the knee. So that's really good stuff. Check that out. And then at the foot, he does not have any lower leg swivel, which is kind of surprising because they could have put it right in there. But they decided not to for whatever reason. But his foot does go forward to about right there. Comes up to right there. And then it does have ankle rockers. So, you know, he's got a couple of limitations. But I think for the most part, the articulation is pretty good. And he's definitely a lot of fun to play with. You could get that jumping pose. I'm sure if he had open hands, this pose would have worked a little bit better. But, you know, it is what it is. That's not a very good... You guys know what pose I'm going for. You guys could probably do it better than I can. But, hey, whatever. But, yeah, this guy is definitely a lot of fun to play with. Just kind of want to mess around with him just a little bit. Yeah. Again, he has some slight limitations. Like right here, it would have been really nice to have that butterfly joint. But you could kind of twist him to get his arm in front of him, right? Yeah, so good stuff. He's definitely fun to play with. This is definitely going to be my the pocket figure version of Miles for me, you know? Just kind of pull him out and mess with them. I know there's other versions of him coming, like the Mafex one, the Sentinel one, but those are going to be expensive. So even though they look like they're going to be awesome figures, I doubt that I'll take them with me places. But this guy right here, I'll stick him in my pocket, go to dinner, right? So, yeah, he's a lot of fun to play with, is the point that I'm making here. So I am happy with the articulation. I like this figure a lot, and I think that Hasbro did a great job on pretty much everything. I think the sculpting work is very well done. The articulation is nice, and he comes with some good accessories. I do wish that he had butterfly jointed shoulders, and I also wish that he had a set of open hands. But aside from those two little setbacks, I think this guy is extremely well done, and Hasbro just pretty much killed it on every aspect about him. So I'm happy with what we have here. And, you know, the Mafex version has been announced for a while, and then now Sentinel's coming out with the version. Both of those are going to be great, but they're also going to be very expensive. So it's cool that Hasbro came along and gave us these figures and gave people, like, a more affordable, high-quality Miles Morales figure. And it's cool to see, like, so many new things going on with this figure, like the pinless technology, new articulation. There's all kinds of good stuff here, so I'm very happy with what we have going on. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. If you want to support the channel, you can buy an Odious head, you could buy a hat, you could buy a t-shirt, or you could become a channel member. That's something new I'm doing. You know, nothing on my regular channel is going to change. Obviously, I'll still do a bunch of reviews, comparisons, and random videos, but I'm also going to have a little bit more content that's going to be available if you're a channel member. So be sure to check that out. If not, it's all good. It's all love. I appreciate that you watch the videos. Thank you so much. Peace.